Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to GFM University. And we have Mike Matthews today from digitaltrackerradio.com. We're going to start the interview now. Shout out to everybody that's on board. I was witnessing live an interview he did on Wednesday, I believe, and it was really dope, and I appreciate it. So hopefully we can have something good, just as good as better. How you doing today, Mr. Matthews?
I'm doing all right. This is True Will, right?
Yes, sir. Surely
Yeah,
is.
man. Pleasure to see you and stuff again. Just same people, different place. It looks like, huh?
It's not the same people. No, no, not the same people. Definitely different crowd for sure.
Got it. Okay. Well, I hope you guys are doing good. I'm not sure what exactly you guys' focus is on your call, but
So this
give me a little background on what you guys got going on.
Cool. So GFM University is an engagement think tank that operates from Monday to Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. And this is basically an online university. We have different subjects each day. Like Monday is multimedia marketing. Tuesday is music theory. Wednesday, we do hip hop 101. Thursday, we do music production, hosted by Mr. Kelly, where he actually shows people how to master live, you know what I'm saying? Right here on the Zoom. And then today is Gas Surpass, our music review day. But we have a special guest, which is yourself. So this is where we're at right now today.
Okay, great. Okay, so I guess I gotta send all the hot music that comes through our desk to you for Fridays. Okay. And
Yes, sir. That would be optimal. Yes, sir.
got it. Okay. No, that's great. Well, I'm here to answer any questions or give any feedback or anything anybody wants any information about Digital Radio Tracker and what we do and stuff like that. I'm not sure the type of people you have on the call, if you have station owners or artists or producers or what I
All
know.
of the above. Station owners, artists, producers, executives. We have industry strategists like Miss Lala Madness News. We have there's a lot of different skill sets on here. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, great. No, I love what you guys are doing. I've been on a couple of these calls, as you mentioned earlier, and I love the education piece. I love what you guys are doing in terms of trying to get out there and educate the next generation that's coming up in the business, who the players are, what's happening, what's the ins and outs, and how to become successful at it, and things. And so, here to share, give some feedback. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of time. I see you do your calls, I guess, for the folk that don't work during the day or whatever. I know typically a lot of calls are done in the evening times after hours and things. So I definitely commend you for doing a midday call or people that may be on their lunch break and stuff like that. And being able to pour into them and people that are serious about their craft and what they're looking at doing. So I'm glad to see you guys have a midday call going on.
Yeah, the reason why I do that is because I wanted to promote a business-like atmosphere, and I feel like some of the later calls invite more personal atmospheres and private atmospheres because people have been working all day, and so they kind of cutting loose. And so this is kind of like the opposite of that. But today is Friday, so Fridays we usually are a little looser. I did have a question for you personally.
Go
So
ahead.
I'm about to release a project, 821 called Futuristic. I'm curious is what kind of advice would you give an artist such as myself on the process of how to release using digital radio tracker and everything like that?
It's a great question. Well, one of the things that we always tell our clients and things, and there's several affiliates. One of our key affiliates is on this call, Kermit. Be a great person to connect with, and he has, of course, a lot more time than I have to address more detailed questions and things and how they works and stuff like that. But one of the things to answer your question that you want to do is you want to start getting your song moving around like such on as these calls you guys are doing is fantastic. It's a good way to introduce your music to up and coming DJs or some established DJs, some of the digital streaming radio stations and things. Hopefully, everyone's monitored by DRT. If you're not, you definitely want to sign up for a broadcaster account on digitalradiotracker.com. But what you'd want to do is you'd want to look at getting your music to as many of the players as you possibly can. What it's about building an audience ultimately for your song, True Will. I understand this is a new release, so you want to figure out, okay, who's going to take an interest in supporting what you're doing. And that's what's great about these calls. It allows you to build relationships and be able to get your music introduced to some of these foundational stations, we call it. Maybe some of the newer digital stations that maybe only been around for a year or two, or maybe some have been around for a few years. They're going to be a lot more open and receptive to play and support your music. What you want to start doing is start building what's called an airplay story first. That's what we love about what we created at Digital Radio Tracker, because we monitor more than 5,000 stations around the globe. What we're able to do is be able to show you or paint a picture for you to where you can start growing your story as you build your audience and expose your music. The whole objective is to start drawing in what we call super fans, right? Or those are the people that are going to want to connect with you, engage with you on social media, come to your shows, buy your merchandise, all of those types of things. So obviously, that being said, the bigger your audience is, the greater your chance that you're going to be able to connect with them to try to convert to become more and more super fans. And that's how you actually grow your base. So digital radio is an excellent place to start. And again, you want to talk more with like Kermit and people like that have a lot of relationships with a lot of these different stations to be able to get your music out there, get your music exposed. Obviously, we'd want you to get on the DRT charts. It takes 600 spins from chart reporting stations to even appear at the bottom. So that means you've got to get your work going on. You've got to get some spins up. You got to get some of these stations that are chart reporters to play your music and support it. Because once you get on the charts, then of course you qualify for. You see some that are behind on the wall that I'm in the room that I'm in. The DRT certified plaques. There's thousands of them out all over the world. You'd want to get you one of those plaques to commemorate, your success, even at a stepping stone stage. So you can only get one of those if you chart at least a minimum of 1 week. So that would be a good place to start. That'll help you with your PR, being able to post things like that, pictures with it, talk about it on blogs, on social media, all those types of things are good ways to start getting the train moving, we call it. The other aspect you'd want to look at as you get your music out is focusing on playlisting, working with the music curators that have playlists to be able to get your music streaming on Spotify and Apple Music and platforms like that, where you can start building your streaming story, because there's nothing like getting your song played at radio and programmers start doing their due diligence and they start researching and they say, hey, wait a minute, why am I playing this song? And there's no streaming activity on it. Nobody cares. Nothing's happening, right? So you want to make sure that your song is being incubated properly, that it's being exposed in the right ways so you can put yourself on the path for success. So hope that kind of helps give you a little insight, early advice on it.
It definitely does. And I do want to say I love that you are pointing out that that's a digital radio track is a great place to start.
Mhm.
Not saying that's the end goal, but that's a great launch pad, and I think that everybody should do well to do that. All right, so I did have one comment. I did this question, but I heard that Mr. Kermit has the most plaques out of anybody in the whole world from DRT.
Yeah,
That's
he
what I
he
heard.
does. He does. And again, he's a different kind of guy. You guys have probably gotten to know him very well on these calls and stuff. He's an industry guy, been in the industry for over 50 years. He's one of my mentors. One of the things I can say about Kermit with ECMD is that when he understands what the vision is for a company, he gets behind it. He supports. When he
He
knows
does.
integrity is there, when he knows the players are there and people that are really making real results happen, that makes a big difference. And one of the things that he did when, because being an early believer, he's been around since day one. DRT is only 15 years old, so it's still a baby. He's been around all 15 years. When he started ECMD Radio, one of the things that he did was he started playing and supporting every single artist that he came in connection with. So even to this day, ECMD Radio plays the most independent music out of all the stations that DRT monitors. And when I say that number is well over 500 releases. There's not too many stations that are playing that much new music, but ECMD does that, supports a lot of new music, and we're able to track that because we've been monitoring that station since day one. And so I commend Kermit, and through a lot of the artists that he works with and promotes, and I even said this on another call, he's put his money where his mouth is. He buys the plaques. He doesn't get the plaques for free. He supports the artist, and he
That's
gets
fire.
there's even some plaques he has. I don't even know. I have to look at the list. I think Kermit has probably what over 100. He has quite a bit of them, and he even has some plaques on some artists that they themselves didn't have a plaque, didn't get a plaque. And that's how
Mm.
much he supports the vision and how much that he believes in a lot of the artists that he promotes is he says, hey, wait a minute, you know what? I'm not going to wait for you to get behind your I'm going to get behind it. He's more of what we call a proactive person, not a reactive person. So that's why I commend him and give him his flowers on all these calls that he's on. I always say, look, you know what? It's not a boast or brag thing. It's a respect thing, and the truth doesn't lie. The facts are the facts. And if someone does it better, someone does it better. If someone is able to go and stand up and say, "Hey, look, this is what I'm doing with my station. This is why." Hey, you know what? Then kudos to them. But I will add another one though. There's Jay Cristal Radio. I know they're not on this call, but I'm
I'm very familiar with Jake Cristal.
okay. So you're
That's
familiar with him.
funny.
Jay
Yeah, yeah,
Cristal
yeah.
Radio is another one. Very
I didn't know
supportive,
that. I didn't
independent,
know that.
and yeah. As a matter of fact, ask him to take a picture of his wall. Jay Cristal
Wow.
Radio is the number two. He's right behind Kermit. He's got the most
Hmm.
plaques. I don't know how many, but
Wow.
I know he's got quite a few of them. I think he's got more than probably 20, I would guess, or more than that. He's got quite a few. And again, these are guys that really believe in supporting independent music. So I always tell the independents that are on these calls, make sure you connect with these guys. Make sure you support what these guys are doing. Make sure that you connect with them in the way of, look, you know what? How can we partner up? What can we do to help one another? How do we grow brands? How do we get our music exposed at other levels? And these guys are some of the players that can help you do it. Not a problem.
So I have a double-sided question for you. I would like to know for the family, educate us on how Digital Tracker works, and then kind of give us a backstory on how that came to be. And then also, if you could connect Digital Radio Tracker with possibly the new wave. Well, it's not new now, but it's new compared to everything else. But how would one use Digital Radio Tracker if I wanted to say do an NFT release and kind of go into how it would connect with the Web3? And if you can do that for me, that'd be great.
Yeah, great questions. There were several questions. I'll try to touch them all and try to remember them all, but several questions and I'll address them. One of the things that DRT was first founded and created back in 2011. At the time, I have a successful marketing company, Dominion Marketing, and market hundreds of records. And at the time, we were promoting, we're do a lot of radio promotion, and we were focusing, of course, at the time on a lot of terrestrial FM radio and Sirius XM and things. And as we promote songs, we started seeing the gravitation that a lot of music was starting to get exposed and broke online. And so, long story short, we started calling all of our peers that were monitoring at the time. Nielsen BDS was around, and Mediabase and several other monitoring companies. And we decided to call everybody and we say, hey, wait a minute, man, who's tracking this stuff? What's going on here? Because we've got music that's being broke online. We've got all these digital radio stations or internet radio stations, podcasts that are playing these songs and nobody's tracking it. You guys want to track this stuff so we can kind of get more of a better picture of what these songs are really doing out here instead of just the select few stations that they were monitoring at the time. And we heard the same answer from everybody. It was no, nobody's listening to that stuff. Nobody cares. Those are irrelevant stations. We only want to focus on the big tier guys that's got hundreds of thousands of listeners and so forth. And so after a while, we started getting more pressure from the clients because we said, well, wait a minute. We want to be able to better serve our clients. We want to be able to give them the information and let them know where their music is being played at. So everybody kind of started asking me, look, why don't you put something together? I'm like, wait a minute. Well, I'm not tech savvy. I don't know. I'm a music marketing guy. I don't know anything about technology and how all this stuff works. So what's interesting is to answer one of your other questions was how Digital Radio Tracker works. It's the only monitoring company in the world that we track from metadata. What that means is that all the other monitoring companies, they do what we call like old school. We label it as like the analog. Remember back in the day, we all had the big pictures, big tube TVs. Now everybody's got the flat screens, right? Now we're in a digital world. The difference is where they use what's called a fingerprinting process. where they basically, to make it in layman's terms, where every song is basically like assigned a number, so to speak, like a social security number. And every time that song is streamed or that song is played, it's then counts as a detection. And that's how those companies work. Well, how Digital Radio Tracker works, what we found what was happening was a lot of spins are missed. A lot of songs are played that aren't even encoded. So what happens to those spins when those songs are legitimately getting played? Or what happens to a song when it goes viral on social media, right? You might post your new song and on your Instagram or Facebook, or you might email it to a DJ for feedback, and you don't even know that DJ might have sent it to 100 of their DJ friends. Now your music has gone viral, your music's all over the place, and you have no way of knowing who's playing it, especially if you didn't even encode it. So we decided to not go that way. We decided to create a new technology, and that was tracking from the meta tag data, where that way, one, it impacts your royalties. Two, the other way is now if you leak your song out straight from the studio and maybe you didn't encode it with anybody, it doesn't matter. Digital Radio Tracker is able to catch it from spin one. What we did was we took the business model from the credit bureaus. You know how credit bureaus work? The very first time you apply for credit or do any type of credit transaction, the very first time a credit report file is generated. And then after that, every credit transaction is then added to that file. Well, we took the same concept with music tracking. We said, okay, the very first time that your song is played on ECMD radio, a file is then created in DRT's database. And then every time it's played after that, it gets added to that file. So that's what makes DRT so unique, is we don't miss any spins. What we actually do is we track the radio stations, where all of our competitors, what they do is they track songs. So what we do by tracking the radio stations, we're getting every single song that the radio stations play. So we don't have gaps. Like all the other monitoring companies, they have a lot of gaps because they're only going to show on their reports what songs are encoded. So keep that in mind. For those that don't have the education, don't know how to encode their songs, or maybe perhaps you're not even being played on the stations that they're monitoring. Well, then they'll have blank reports. The other thing that we did with DRT that was unique was we said we were going to give a risk-free guarantee, meaning that you don't have to risk a dollar. With other monitoring companies, you have to buy their reports, whatever the cost may be. But this is the big question, is who wants to pay for a report that's blank, right? Well, that's how those other monitoring companies work. You pay 100, 150 bucks for a report, and even if you didn't have any airplay, they still take your money. And we said, you know what, that's not fair. We're not just going to make reports affordable. They're actually $9.99 or $19.99 or less if you get them in bulk. What we did was make them affordable, but we also made them at a risk-free guarantee. So with DRT, you'll never get a blank report. You can only get reports if your song has airplay on it. If your song doesn't have airplay, you won't get a report. It won't cost you a dime. So it's risk-free. So those are several different things that separate Digital Radio Tracker from the competitors that also leads to making a difference. Now, you asked a question about EFTs and you asked about
NFTs. Yeah, I was just asking how Radio Tracker will work in combination with NFTs, and if I wanted to do like an NFT album, like a Tory Lanez or something like that, like how would that work?
Got it. That's a great question. It's actually a unique question because I've never been asked that before, but I'll tell you, this is a way that DRT could be invaluable to an artist that's looking to launch EFTs. Is think about it like this. If you and you mentioned an artist, Tory Lanez, and you can mention any artist, doesn't matter. Well, I would just say Trill Will. Say Trill
Right, say Trill Will. Yeah.
Trill Will, exactly. Trill Will is out here and he's doing his due diligence. He's networking with the right people. He's marketing his music properly. He's putting proper budgets behind it. His music is everywhere, and now he's getting airplay. He pulls a DRT report up. He sees he's getting played on 10, 15, 20 stations, whatever it may be having going on. Those stations have what's called programming base, right? So the station may be based in, say, Jacksonville, Florida. That's where the station is based at, but the station has listeners. Remember, these are global. These are digital streaming stations. So they're global. There's listeners all over the world, in Japan and Korea and South America and Mexico, Australia, everywhere. So what you want to do is you want to get those analytics And now what does that do? That opens you up to a whole nother audience, a whole nother base to be able to offer those NFTs and all those types of products and things that you guys are marketing. So now you're then able to go in and say, take those analytics and say, okay, if my territories are, say, Australia, then why are you worried about marketing your NFT to Chicago or to Florida? You'd want to market your NFT to Australia, where that listening
Right.
audience is enjoying your music, and therefore they're more apt to support your music. The other benefits that you can do by having those analytics is you can maybe set up interviews, book shows in territories. Again, do micro marketing, such as now you can go in and do Facebook meta ads and things and just those demographics because you now know where your music is being more focused on. You can also look at monetizing all of that information in various other ways, whether it's selling merchandise, whether it's building a following base on social media, all of these types of things is how you can grow from using the analytics of DRT. So I hope
Man,
that
I
answers all
think
your questions.
that's a wealth of information. I do want to open the floor up for questions real quick, but I do want to let our media strategist, specialist consultant here at GFM, Miss Lala, ask a question or maybe converse with you or something like that, because I know
Sure.
she's the one who's doing my registration currently. So
Okay,
I feel like it's only right that she and you have a conversation. So go ahead, Miss Lala.
please.
Oh, hello. I'm
Hello, Ms.
Lala
Lala.
Madness News. Yes. Well, and you're absolutely great points on everything that you said. A lot of the things that the artists were running into, well, on my end, was the music registration that you mentioned. So half of their music is not registered right as far as collecting royalties and all of that stuff, and even tracking properly, because even if you're sending out MP3s in the club, that's not tracked.
That's right.
If you're oh
What
You
is
there,
that?
Blizzard?
oh,
Who's doing that?
I don't know what happened. I ain't touched nothing. What's this? Okay, is everybody back?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what that
Uh,
was.
Who is
Bubble
Phil?
gums and butterflies, I guess. Okay, so a lot of the issue has been the tracking and then the payment or royalties. And then, the labels had a whole little uproar about the artists complaining about not getting royalties, right? They getting cheated, blah,
So,
blah, 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 and they weren't collecting their money. So the issue was not so much as that, it was that some of the stations weren't registered properly themselves to pay the artists, right?
there you
The
go.
artists themselves weren't registered properly to get paid.
That's right.
And the podcasts that they're jumping on are not registered with their internet radio license or whatever they need in order to play your music on their podcast.
Okay.
So there's no payment from that. So the issues have been kind of sort of that. So I deal with a lot of the making sure that their music is properly registered to begin with in order for all of that to happen. And half of them don't even know about their mechanical side versus their PRO side. Then you have the venues I'll say stuff 2 years in advance or a year in advance on what's going to change in the industry and what's happening to try to give them a leg up on it. But when it came down to making sure that stuff was registered and to get paid for it, the blame game was going back and forth between the labels blaming the artists blaming the labels. Now they don't understand that they're at war. Okay.
Well, not to cut you off, but we're gonna address that in 2 minutes. I'm getting ready to hit every one of those points, and I'm gonna say it publicly on this call. So you guys are recording it, you can share it, go back and play it again. This is the biggest problem that we've encountered. Okay, first of all, that's why artists don't understand what metadata is. It's something called ID3 tag. Okay, ID3 is a free software you can go and Google it. ID3. Okay, if you don't know how to tag your music. The problem with a lot of these songs, they're being floating around, these MP3s are called track one or unknown. Those are the number one songs out here. It's called unknown or track one. Does that make sense? So it starts foundationally. When you leave that studio with that MP3, that studio engineer, that artist, whoever has control of that MP3, before you share it with anyone, you should make sure that it's ID3 tagged properly. And you got to do version 1 and version 2, not just version 1. Version 1 and version 2. Look that up, ID3 tagging. So you want to make sure that your songs are properly tagged with artist name spelled properly and song title. That is the first foundation layer. If you don't have that, you'll never get any royalties. Okay.
And they don't.
You're not even in the running. So let's take care of that problem number one. Problem number two is an ISRC code or ISRW as well. All of these codes you want to make sure you have. You can get them from your distributor. Okay. So that's the other reason why a lot of artists are not getting paid, because they don't have an ISRC code. And it's good to make sure your ISRC code is embedded in your MP3. What I mean by that is it's not the name of it. It's not ISRC code.mp3. No, it's making sure it's embedded in. Again, ID3 tag editor will take care of all of that for you. Add it to it, make sure it's there. Then through that, you will register your ISRC codes with all the performance rights societies, Sound Exchange, and everybody in between that you possibly need to have it registered properly with, to make sure that your song is registered and being able to get your royalties and who they need to send the royalties to, etc. But in case they're not, let's go on to number three. That's the beautiful thing about Digital Radio Tracker. It was created by a bunch of radio promoters. So we understood what was missing in the music game as a whole. So what we did was we said, well, wait a minute. That's why we do it based on metadata, because performance rights societies, they are tracking from ISRC codes and metadata. That's how they know what's going on with a song and what's not. So therefore, if your song's not tagged properly, or if you don't have an ISRC code, etc., therefore you're never going to put yourself in position for royalties. Stations. Let me just say it publicly like this. If a station is broadcasting and playing music publicly and they're not licensed properly to do that, they're really an illegal station. They really can be shut down.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't have anybody listening. I'm not saying they're not good people. They just don't have their business together. So what you have to understand as an artist or manager or label is that if your music is being played on any of those types of stations, then understand that's called promotion. That's free. That's not marketing, that's promotion. So that's the difference between marketing and promotion as well. If you're passing out flyers at a club, that's promotion, that's free. But marketing is what's on the flyer. So that's the difference. So if you're dealing with those stations, then don't expect to get paid anything because they're not legitimate stations. If you're dealing with legitimate licensed stations, then either the station themselves are paying the licensing fees, or who they're streaming through is paying the licensing fees on their behalf, and therefore you will then be able to collect royalties. So this
kind
is
of like the Everyday 365. When Everyday 365, they have acquired the licenses. So if you use them, you know,
they're paying on your behalf. Exactly. As long as you have that type of station with them. And a lot of those, what they'll do in exchange is they'll run commercials on your station and stuff to help offset cost. So that then the fourth part of the question that you were asking and talking about is the back end part of that. That's what makes Digital Radio Tracker so important, because what happens is when that label, that artist, that whoever goes to try to collect royalties, most of the time they just have their record swinging in their hand. They have no third-party evidence that their song was even played. All they're doing is calling saying, hey, I need my royalties. My song was played 6 months ago, a year ago. That means nothing to them. What they want to see is third-party validation reports, which is like a Digital Radio Tracker report, a media-based report. Back in the day when Nielsen BDS existed, a Music Monitor, all these various monitoring companies, we don't own any of those stations. We don't have any skin in the game. They know that. So if they see a DRT report and they see that your song was played on 20 stations, now you, your lawyer, your manager, whoever, has ammunition now to be able to stand your ground and say, hey, wait a minute. We have evidence that from people that don't even own these stations that my song was being played X amount of times. Now, what you have to do is now demand or put the pressure on them to then explain to you why you don't have a royalty check. Does that mean they don't pay on those particular stations? Does that mean you didn't have enough spins? What does that mean? All you know is you didn't receive a check and you want to know why. So the advantage that you have by having a Digital Radio Tracker report or any of the other monitoring companies, now you have the ammunition to go in there and fight and stand your ground and say, wait a minute, I'm producing third-party proof that I'm getting played. Now they have to then defend their position. And that's usually real tough. So usually what happens is you wind up mysteriously getting a check all of a sudden. Now,
Well,
what
then, according to
out is
the
another
bill
story.
that was signed in 2022, all of the radio stations, which is why everybody ran a live 365, because I said something about it, and then they told me to shut up and gave me 100 DJs because I tried to say that before. So a lot of the what I was gonna say, a lot of the issue with that is that when they go and have club play, they had the MP3s. Now they have to use Serato, okay, because the bill got signed in 2022 that all the radio stations that were playing artists that they weren't able to collect royalties for, since the labels got sued by the MLC, or Spotify rather got sued about the money part, then now they had to all run the Live 365, who has the license, to avoid themselves being held liable and accountable to have to pay each artist that was played on that report for all the songs that was played on there from 2022 when the bill got signed. So this is why everybody ran over to Live 365 to avoid all of that, right? But that still doesn't pay the artists for, they could just shut down and go away. You get what I'm saying? That doesn't mean the artist will be able to recoup anything in that aspect. And so the artists don't understand how the business works. They just see, oh, my song is being played 1,000 times on this week at these 10 stations, 100 streams per, depend on what. Now they've changed a little bit of the rules and regulations now based on some of that, because a lot of the stations weren't registered, some of them, and things of that nature. And then the artists weren't getting paid. The venues are now in trouble for the same reason. The artists can't go there and perform at a non-registered venue, because when they contact BMI and ASCAP and say, hey, I performed there, there's no royalties to pay you because the venue's not registered, right?
Yeah.
So kind of the same thing.
Well, that's why they say welcome to the
radio
record.
and the venues.
I understand, but that's why they say welcome to the record industry, because it's been going on for years.
Surprise.
I believe Al Green, Al Green said it the best. I believe he said, base yourself on 90%. What that means is be prepared for 10% of your money to be stolen from you. That's what that means. Is the music industry is not 100% business. So there's going to be a percentage that you have to, in your mind, if you want to be in this game, you have to do just like Al said, 90-10. A percentage is going to have to be written off as promotion. So you're not going to get every single penny that comes to you. You're going to have managers ripping you off. You're going to have different people in the industry taken from you. That's a part of the industry as a whole. So
Swiss Beach just sued the venue for playing this music in there that wasn't registered for, I think, 20,000. A club in Putnam County just got hit for 17,000, and they swinging big numbers at them.
It happens all the time, but the reality is most people don't have the lawyers, they don't have the resources to sue. So let's just be real about it. That's why I said the comment I just made, is that a part of your interest has to be given back to this game. It's just part of it. You're not going to be able to collect every single penny that's owed to you from every single way. It's impossible. Because there's always, like you said, there's always going to be broadcasters that aren't paying. There's always going to be clubs that ain't playing. There's always going to be all of these outlets that should be paying that are not paying. Therefore, as artists, we all lose as creatives. But where we gang at, though, and people don't like to talk about this, is you can't put a price on the marketing and promotion that you may be getting, the exposure that you may be getting from these outlets as well. So there is some form of exchange. We're not going to sit and say, oh, okay, well, we gave all to them and they just took from us. No, it's also a fair exchange and no robbery to a degree. Now, no artist can survive if 100% of their royalties is being taken from them. But that's why you have to have good management team, good lawyers, and so forth that are going to be able to help make sure your business is intact. And that's something that doesn't get spoken about enough. So a lot of artists are running around in this music game, but if you ask them, do they have qualified, not management, do they have qualified management? Do they have qualified attorneys? Most of them are going to say no.
At least a consultant, because I mean, come on now.
Exactly.
But they have
somebody with the education to help them.
Most of the time, they need to have a budget or at least have a high enough status built up, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of leverage in order for somebody to either have your back and do the management thing for you for free until you make it, which could be God knows when, or you pay for those type of consultations that to make sure that all of your stuff is right before you jump out there in the street.
Exactly.
Pardon self, I do want to let some other people ask some questions. Thank you, Miss Lala. I
Oh yeah, my
appreciate you.
bad.
Brian, and then Drum, and then Mr. Lee, and then DJ Care-Beezy.
Yeah,
Big Drum, you
greetings.
got a
No,
question?
thank you so much. I really appreciate this conversation and even just listening in. I mean, the amount of gems that you're dropping on us here in the chat is unbelievable. And the value of this information is incredible, right? I mean, calls like this, I consider these coaching and consultation calls like these are calls you should be charging for, right?
Yes.
I mean, in all reality. Right. So
Oh, well,
thank you so much.
we do charge. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. It's just you're right. You're definitely right. That's why, of course, we can't be on these calls for hours because we have
Right.
paid clients we have to get back to that do understand and respect it. So I appreciate
Yes.
acknowledging the value of the word that you're getting today.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank
I
you
came
very
in
much.
every Monday for about a year and dropped free knowledge because I kept getting in trouble online by the label saying if you don't get your ass offline, telling people what's coming that's not coming for a year and that's gonna mess up certain monies. So I had to start coming in here sneaking to kind of give the artist side intel to help you guys out because that's the only way you're gonna know what's really going on.
Well, yeah, these calls are invaluable for that. That's what
So
you want.
yeah. So thank you. So yeah, I appreciate your time. I won't waste too much of it. Right. Just a quick question. As president of a music marketing company, right, that we're rebranding and launching, expanding all our services. Is this something that we could partner with you as digital radio tracker? And include this as some type of offer or service for our customers.
Yes, I'd tell you right now, Brian, publicly, we would love to partner with you. We work with a lot of companies already that we partner up with on marketing programs, on various aspects of the industry that we can work together, better satisfy your clients, and things and also create another revenue stream. Let me ask you, is this, I see Good Dad Gang, is that just a picture or is that the company?
That's not the company. That's a nonprofit that I
Oh, got it.
support out of Boston. Yeah, they're just great guys.
What is your company name?
So the new company name is Galactic Music Marketing. The website, the front-facing website is in pretty good shape. We got our back end systems up and running, and we have a couple white label services that we're using as well. So we're open to strategic partnerships now.
Great, great. No, definitely. I would love to speak with you on we can set up an appointment time and things where we can talk about a partnership and how we can bring value to each other and so forth. But we definitely have to set up a private call for that. So you can reach out to well, Kermit's on this call. He's a good person to reach out. I don't know if you know who that is. And things and send your information and we can connect and go from there.
Yeah, greatly appreciated. I'll definitely connect with Kermit. We got each other's numbers, so we'll connect Kermit, and thank you guys so much.
Great.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the feedback and look forward to talking to you.
All right, Big Drum, you're next, and Mike Lee, be on standby.
Yep. Mine's just real quick. I was on the tracker site and I saw there was a bunch of radio stations listed. I was just wondering, how do you become one of those radio stations listed?
It's a great question. Well, there's two types of stations. There's DRT monitored stations and there's DRT chart reporting stations, which are also including monitoring. Of course, chart reporting stations are stations that report that impact the charts. We've been producing charts every week. We produce 9 charts. We've been doing it for 15 years, every week. So there's been hundreds and hundreds of charts that have been placed and marketed all over the world. So that's a good way to get exposure for any of these artists that are out here looking to start creating a spotlight, start trying to get some industry energy around your song. Get your song on the DRT charts. In terms of to answer your question on how stations are monitored, the first thing you can do is sign up for a broadcaster account on digitalradiotracker.com. There's a button there that says broadcasters. You click on that, you sign up for a free account, a free broadcaster account. You sign up with your station's email, your contact, all of that information. And then what happens is you're contacted afterwards. Usually typically within about 24 hours or so, you're contacted with information that will break everything down on where you need to be streaming your station at, so forth, getting all the information about your station, where you're based at, and so forth, in terms of how to get it set up to be monitored. Once you kind of have all of that information in place, then you're looking at a one-time setup fee. It's not an annual fee like most of the monitoring companies. It's not a monthly fee. It's a one-time fee. So I think on one of the calls, Kermit mentioned as low as 40 cents a day. Well, it's not even 40 cents a day because it's a one-time fee. That 40 cents a day is only if it was annual. So it's actually less than that. It's really pennies when you look at it, depending on if you're going to broadcast for years. And we have some stations have been with us for all 15 years. Some have been 10 years, 5 years, all different types. And so that fee is $149. It's a one-time setup fee. And then a chart reporting station is $4.99. And we limit 5. And the reason why we limit 5 on the chart reporting stations is obviously for obvious reasons, for chart manipulation. If no one person controls more than 5 stations, they'll never be able to chart a song. So therefore, we have to keep it regulated like that. Whereas some people contact us, like we monitor the Fleet DJ network. The Fleet DJs has 91 stations that we monitor. 91 stations. It wouldn't be fair to anybody if they were all chart reporters, right? Because it would be the Fleet DJ show. It'd be the Fleet DJ chart. So I'm just saying that publicly. So you're only allowed to have 5 chart reporting stations if you have a radio network or a part of one, or you're a broadcaster that has multiple stations. And that's how that works. And those are the 2 fees.
Great, great. All right. So I want to did you have anything else, John? I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. Okay. Mike Lee.
Let me add one more part to that. This
Okay.
is also very, very important because of what Lala said earlier, is the station also has to be a legitimate licensed station. Or like we talked about earlier, streaming from a company that's paying those licensing fees. That's the other aspect to it. So you're going to be looking at a Live 365, Shoutcast, IceCast. You got to be streaming through a major broadcasting hub like TuneIn, Online Radio Box, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm on all of them.
Or iHeartRadio, Lit Live. If you're not on any of those platforms, or you don't even know what I just said, then you need to do some homework. Then
now I got a question too, as well. Sorry to cut, but if I were to say get my own website, pay for my own BMI and ASCAP internet radio licensing fees, and host all of my stuff on my own site, is that still able to allow participation for you guys to track it, even though it's not on a major thing, but we have taken care of the licensing fees?
Exactly. No, that's a great question. Well, that's one of the requirements. You will have to be at least streaming. You can still have your station independently on your site, and I'll just say it publicly why. You don't want your station to be exclusively streaming on your site. Because let me tell you why. Because you're only limiting your audience to whoever goes on your website, versus if you put yourself on, and I'll just use it, Online Radio Box or TuneIn. There's over 50 million people a day on those sites listening and streaming those stations. So you want to be a part of growing your audience. You don't want to be a part of limiting your audience. So we recommend at least one major broadcasting network hub that you can put your stream. It's free to do it. Doesn't cost you anything. And then we will monitor that station that's streaming from your website, like you said.
Right. I got like 100 and some DJs. I got promoters. I got all of that. So I deal with all of their music. I send them music, that, all of that. But the issue was none of them really had the licensing and was legitimate at the stuff they were doing at the time, before everything was forced to turn over to being legitimized, right? Where everything moved over to media base, and BDS even moved over there. And then you get what I'm saying? So the stuff that wasn't being tracked properly or had the proper licenses, if they take all of their music now, it can be like a hub for pretty much everybody's. It just I would be Live 365 instead of Live 365.
I understand. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, it happens all the time. I get what you're saying. If you want to create your own network, feel free to do that. There's not a problem. We'd love to work with you, and we can partner up with you on that and get all of those stations monitored. It happens all the time. Like I said, the Fleet DJ Network's a good example. They are Shoutcast. They're Shoutcast streaming platform. and they have 91 stations, and they're constantly adding more and things. So it's very easy to do. They're a good model to look at.
Oh yeah, I'd rather have my own so I can get the back end. But yeah.
Exactly. I'm not
Because
mad at you
Live
at all, Lala,
365
about
is
that.
eating it up. Shoutcast is eating it up. Whoever has the license is eating it up.
Exactly. Well, I'm not mad at you at all for doing that, and I commend you for that. But as I say, it costs to be the boss. So you want to do that, go right ahead. So I commend you for that, and definitely reach out to us once you get that network set up.
Excellent. Thank you.
All
Next,
right, cool. Mike Lee.
Yeah, I'm right here. Yeah, what's the deal? So,
what's happening, Mike Lee?
yeah, I could say, man, I could say it's about 98% of these artists that send music, and like you said, they just say it's track one, the name of the track. I mean, bro, like I got like a terabyte of independent artists,
Yep.
man, that need that information, but it's nobody teaching it to them. Yeah, then a lot of them don't want to pay for nobody to do the metadata, and they wonder why they music ain't making no money.
Well, I just gave it up for free on this call exclusively. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you
with
did.
GFM
Now I
University,
look
we
at
just
'em.
we just gave it away for free. And I even told you the software to go download for absolutely free. So every artist that hears this call, you have zero excuse. Quit trying to put Mike Lee to work. Quit trying to put Trill Will to work. Quit trying to put Lala to work. You can do it yourself. It's free and it only takes seconds.
Yeah.
Encode your stuff properly by embedding your ISRC code with the ID3 tag editor. It's very simple. Like I said, software is free to do it. And once you do that, then Mike Lee's his 1 terabyte drive will start getting freed up because it won't have all these track ones and unknowns, and he don't know which song is which or who's from who and all that other stuff. That's the number one reason why a lot of great music doesn't get played, because a DJ can't even find it.
They don't know who. A lot of the same is with the DJ pack. When you send out music to a DJ, I had a bunch of DJ complaints that they only get a track. They may not even know who. So I started including the press release, the EPKs, all of that inside the DJ pack itself link, so that you can actually know who the artist is. What if they want to reach out? They don't have a way of reaching out. Even Mr. Lee, he can't reach out probably to none of those artists, and he got to search through 1,000 emails to find out who sent him the song. When if that was all inclusive, he could reach out to you, and whether it was for an interview or whether it may be for further things going on, like his compilation or whatever, he can't find you.
Well, Lala, we took it a step further. At Digital Radio Tracker, we're the only monitoring company in the world, the only one in the world. Mediabase, Nielsen, BSN, nobody does this. We're the only monitoring company in the world that separates versions of songs. So you can have a chopped and screwed version of your song. You can have a song with a feature on it, or you can have a song without a feature on it. We can tell you what stations are playing which version. Those are comprehensive DRT reports. That's a little different. Whereas all the other monitoring companies, what happens is they merge the files together. Therefore, they consider them all the same song. Well, we thought about it. We said, well, what if you go and you spend X amount of dollars and you put Snoop Dogg on your record, and you want to know if anybody's even playing the Snoop Dogg version? Maybe they're playing the original version that doesn't have Snoop Dogg on it. Now you've just wasted a bunch of money paying for that feature that didn't do you any good, but you had no way of finding it out before Digital Radio Tracker.
Oh, that problem is because they don't use separate ISRC codes. They use the same ISRC code for all versions. They just now finding out it's supposed to be a separate one for each version.
Well, there's that, Lala, but also the monitoring companies still merge the files. They still merge it even with different ISRC codes. We're the only ones that don't.
As the same song.
We don't use the ISRC codes. That's why. So when you do your DJ pack, Lala, and you label it, hey, this is Screwed and Chopped version, this is a version featuring Drake, this is a version featuring Rick Ross, we got all that information. So DRT's database is going to break down all of those versions, and you'll have a separate file for each one of those songs.
Excellent.
Next question.
Hello, sir. How you doing? I appreciate the information.
Oh, Mike Lee was you still talking, Mr.
Hold on, pardon. So let's let Mike Lee finish the question, and then we go ahead. We get Care Beezy's next, and then we'll do you, Kazani. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, bro. Like, that's what it is. 'Cause like everybody be so worried about the upfront money, but they not doing the business to guarantee the money. Then they want to complain and they like, man, I ain't fucking with none of that no more. You know what I'm saying?
It happens every day. It happens every day. And that's the difference between people that are doing this as a hobby and people that are looking at doing this professionally for a living.
Yeah.
I'll
All right,
say it like
Kev,
this. There's many people running around the industry, the music industry. There's many people running around in it, but there's very few people in it. And that's what you want to seek. You want to seek those few people. And once you seek those few people, you'll get real results, you'll have real success, and you'll have real movement on your project. The reason why, if you don't have that right now, is because you're dealing with the many people that are running around in it.
I want to
Yeah,
thank
because
you
the
again,
real people
Mr.
don't
Mike,
have
for coming on.
websites and they don't have social media. The real people don't. They don't have that.
I want to thank you again, Mr. Matthews, for coming on today, man. I know you're a busy man. We do got a couple more questions for you, DJ Carabeezy. You want to go ahead?
Go ahead. I got about 10 more minutes here. Go ahead and let's get these questions knocked off.
Hey, what's up with you, everybody? Mike, man,
What's happening?
man, you're a genie. You're a genie in the bottle, man. I had to say that. Kermit, I love you, Godfather, because of you, I was able to tap in with DRT. And FYI, you said something the other day about having a vision. I've been working with you. I've been working with DRT now for about with our radio station for about 8 years.
Mhm.
And a lot of the topics you've already covered, I don't even have to really ask because you covered a lot. But what I want to know is what can I do as a radio station to get the artists prepared? Like Mr. Lee just said, a lot of these people want their money up front. A lot of these people are not coming with metadata. A lot of these people, they're telling us that they got it, but when we get it, we just get like he said, we get a track. I might get the song titled, but it's the cover art is not there. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
what I would like to know is with DRT, how do we guarantee it that by the time they submit it, maybe we could do it on our website or something like that independently. But how do we get the artist to go ahead and get everything in the metadata format so all we got to do is play it to be counted? That's the first question. Then I got a second question.
Okay. Okay. Well, what you just asked is a key question, but it's also impossible because we can't control. None of us can. People don't even
Okay.
realize the database. Let me just give you an idea. Digital radio tracking, and we're small. We're only tracking upward close to 6,000 stations. We're tracking almost 40 million songs a week. 40 million. It's
That's a lot.
impossible. Trust me, there's people don't realize there's over 100,000 songs, tracks released a day, every day. It's impossible. That's why we created Digital Radio Tracker the way we did. Because all these old school guys, and I'm gonna say it publicly, y'all are waiting on somebody to send their music in and code it and all that stuff. Nobody has time for that anymore.
They don't have the time.
That's yesterday. Because everything is moving so fast now. If somebody gets shot right now, it's already out there all over the world within seconds. People don't have the time. Well, I need to go fill this out. So to answer your question, it's impossible to actually do it, but it starts with calls like this. We've got to get the education out to these artists that are serious, these labels that are serious. This is the difference, is people are not drawing lines in the sand. Like we don't accept clients unless they're at a certain level, unless they're professional already. So in other words, we're not trying to take 1,000 calls of people saying, "Hey, how do I tag my MP3s?"
But he can do submission requirements on his website. So when you're doing submission, accepted submissions, you can make that a part of the requirements and tell them this needs to be, we need a cover art, it needs to be encoded, or you need to have
these are all fundamental things, Lala. These are all fundamental things, artwork, all of these are all fundamental things.
They don't have them stuff.
If someone's, they're not serious then. If someone's serious about doing this for a living, trust me, they will do the research. They will do their homework. They will hire consultants. They will call Lala. They will call Trillwell. They'll call whoever they need to and get the information that they need to get it done right. If they're serious, or they will even pay. There's a lot of people out here that will charge for their time, and they will do it all for them. Encode, get the eyes to do everything. for them
Right.
for a fee. The problem is, and I'm going to address the back end of his question. The problem is people don't value themselves. If you
That's so
value
true.
yourself, you will be willing to invest in yourself. So write
Correct.
it down if you didn't hear it the first time. If you value yourself and your career, you'll be willing to invest in it. So
being an artist is like having a horse for a hobby, baby. It's expensive. It's not cheap, and you need to have certain things.
But
You
that's
know
why
what I'm
it's
saying?
called, okay, but that's
Like
why
he's
it's
saying,
called the
but you-
business of music. It's not called the music business. It's called
Right.
the business of music.
The
The
business
business
But
is
you
in the
as the-
beginning of the day. The music is at the end of the day.
him
So-
as the radio station though can set his own separate requirements and level the bar of what
but he
he's
has to.
accepted and not
Being
accepted,
a station
and what
owner,
format you want things in. Yes, you can do that part. You know.
but that's all he can do. You
Yep.
can't make anybody do anything. So if they still want to send you track one, then what you do is you deny that. You say, okay,
That-
well, this is
I'll
why you're
send you
not-
an email
this
right
is why
back
you're
and
not
tell
being
you what
played
we
on
ain't taking.
WURE. It's that simple. It's
Hey
that
man,
simple.
it's funny. It's funny that you said that, Mike, because I get a lot of music submission. Like I said, we 12 years in the game, and I really want to tighten up with our station as far as getting the royalties out. So you got me thinking about just providing me, Mr. Lee. We talked about this about providing a metadata service just for the independent artist. You know,
And
but
if you're noticing that void in the industry, that might be a great idea for you guys to do, to educate these people, provide the service, get it done for them the right way, and then you can get the music out, and therefore DRT and other companies are able to track it, and they're able to get their royalties and all those types of things.
I
So
deal
I
with that, so y'all can call me afterwards. Mr. Lee, call me afterwards with him if y'all already connected, and we could talk about that because I deal with that.
I love you for that. And and Mike, I just want to say to you, man, I'm appreciative. You hit the nail on the head the other day, and you said it again today. It's about the vision, man. You got to have a vision, and then you put it into motion, whether they believe it or not. And I salute you because I knew I had a vision. You know, working with Live 365, knowing about Clear Channel before they became iHeart. Going third party on the streaming platform with Live, because when we first got with them 12 years ago, they did offer streaming, but because of the Clear Channel iHeart situation, we had to go third party. And what's so unique about it is I discovered DRT about 8 years ago. I was like, wait a minute, what is this digital tracker? And come to find out, we almost twins. We 12, y'all 15. But to make a long story short, I want to work with you more. I'm gonna get with Kermit. That's my godfather, and we're gonna get this shit popping, man. And I appreciate
you. With you. And I give you your flowers too. I'm so proud of you. Just the fact that you're able to say that you're 12 years in, I commend you. There's so many stations. This is what people don't understand. We see it all on this side of the fence. There's stations come and stations go every single day. So. Right. Just the fact that you're still here 12 years later, I don't care if you only got one person listening to your station or 1 million people listening. It doesn't matter. You're still.
We got 4 million. We hit 4 million in first and second quarter.
Keep building your audience. Keep doing your thing. I'm going to encourage you, and I love to work with you. Get with Kermit. Let's put something together. Let's make some real things happen.
I'm with it, man. Thank you so much, man.
I think there was one more question.
Yeah, anybody got any other questions? I see Mike Lee with his hand up, but he already went. He don't know how to put his hand down.
I got a question.
Oh no, wait, hold on. We got Kazerny. We forgot Kazerny. We didn't get his question. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to thank you, Mike, on being an artist myself. I think that you helped us to gain value because, like you said, you know, when you could track the play, man, that give you kind of a leverage, you know, to negotiate for yourself as an artist. I'm also like registered my station. We with like Zeno, and we pay like, you know, monthly services to make sure our artists is getting paid. Like how like do every artist get paid on the standard from each company, or do they got like different payment deals like Spotify and iTunes, or is it like royalty that radio give naturally for artists, or is it different portals of how they pay?
That's a good question. That's a good. You know what you just asked? You just asked the $1 million question. When you get that answer, please come back and share with everybody. Because that's one of the industry's best kept secret. Let me tell you why. Because performance right royalties doesn't work the same way as streaming royalties. So like you
Nope.
said, when you look at platforms, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music and things, they have measurable royalties. All that other stuff, there's no measurable royalties. Like I said, you asked the $1 million question. There is no fixed where they say, hey, you know what? You're going to get, if you get streamed on Live 365, you're going to get 1 cent. If you get streamed on Online Radio Box, you're going to get 2 cents. It doesn't work that way. Trust me, I wish it did, but it doesn't work that way. So that's a $1 million question you have. Hold on to that close to the vest, and good luck with trying to get the answer on that one.
I got you. I got you. How long? So all of the royalties are split up into various portals on purpose, right? So your a little bit of your BMI or ASCAP covers your performance royalties. A little bit of that is sprinkled in from your DSPs. That's not all of your royalties. The majority of your PRO royalties, which is why your check is $50, is supposed to come from you reporting that you're performing at these venues, which is why it's performance royalties, right? PRO. Then you have a little bit of your DSP money. Then your mechanical, the MLC, handles your writer share, which that's the black box. That's $250 million every 3 years that the majors get if y'all don't collect it. That's separate. Now, iHeart and anything that's not, that you can't control what plays next, such as your Sirius XM, your Pandora, and those type of stations, those are in Sound Exchange. So you literally, as an artist, have to register for multiple platforms in order to be able to collect all of your money, period, regardless of where it's streamed at.
That's great, Lala. But what he wanted to know, and this could be good homework for you, Lala, what he wanted to know was the royalties from different stations platform, not the various entities. You just broke it down wonderfully. He was asking about the royalties from stations.
Well, just like your DSP. So Tidal pays Spotify got your 0.002 cents. Another platform will pay your 0.05.
But those aren't radio stations. We're not talking about those. We're talking about a radio station platform. That's why I said it's $1 million question.
Still have to be registered, and that, like you said, would depend on the platform that they're registered on. So Live 365, like he said, will pay a certain amount. Your Tidal will pay a certain amount, and when you go in the club, it's pulled out of generally Serato and Tidal. Those pay different amounts as well.
Yeah, I just like somebody to tell me what that is. So good luck with figuring that out, Lala. Let us know.
I'll break it down for you. I got a book on it.
No, I'm talking about what the numbers are for these station platforms, because we all want to know that one.
Yeah, well, Spotify's 0.002.
No, not DSP.
Oh, the station.
Radio stations.
Oh, yeah, no. That's going to be based on the amount of listeners and the license that they went and got, because it pays based on the different amount of listeners and the license that they went and got and registered for their station. That's what the pay scale is based on. So if you have a small amount of listeners, that pay scale will be different. If you have, and it asks you when you're registering for your license, how many listeners do you have or expect to have? And that's what it's going to base on pretty much what it is. And some of the PROs as well, when it's paying you out, because some of that radio station money is coming through there, have their own set amounts of money that they pay. ASCAP pays this, a performance royalty over it, and BMI pays that. So it's all over the place when exactly what your money is. And that's depending on where it's played.
Well said, Lala. Again, that's what the stations pay. What the question is, and what we need to know the answer of, is what do you get? What does the artist get? What is the royalties from those stations? What is the percentage of that money that they pay? So they're going to pay based upon
that will be based on the license that the station itself has from the licensee or the licensor.
Exactly. That's where it's going to come
from.
So
you would have to know based on how many listeners they have. You got to do the homework as the artist, because they're not going to tell you. Exactly. So you have to go based on looking up what the licensing is, looking up how much that is, and based on the amount of followers. This particular, like he said, he got 4 million listeners. So based on his 4 million listeners, right, that will pay a certain amount of royalty. And then it may also be a fixed rate. So you got to go and know based on where your song is being played at, what that pay rate is.
There you go.
You still got to do the homework.
That's
yourself.
right. Well
so
said.
basically, it's a case-by-case scenario is what I'm
That's
hearing.
correct.
That's
Yep.
right.
Okay.
That's right. There's
All
no
right.
fix.
Thane has a question. Go ahead, Thane.
Yeah, how y'all doing? I got a question. So how does an artist? So if an artist subscribes to DRT Radio, then DRT will get the songs out to the radio stations, or you just do tracking? What
No.
is?
The answer to that question is no. Great question. Digital Radio Tracker is a monitoring company. We're a broadcast monitoring company. We track your song as it's being played.
Okay.
We don't service your song. So in other words, if you're looking to have your song serviced, that's why I said earlier on the call, you're going to want to get with people like Kermit, like a lot of other people that have connections with people that have radio stations to get your song played.
I got you.
So that's where you're going to deal with music marketing companies. That's where you're going to get that. But Digital Radio Tracker doesn't do that.
So then an artist once he has that going, then he comes to you and pays you for the tracking.
Well, once that's going, your song's automatically going to be added to DRT's database.
Okay, I got you.
Your song will chart and so forth. If you want to get the
you.
reports, you can get the reports from us that
Okay.
state where your song is being played at, spins
I
per day,
get
all the various analytics.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You got it.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you. That was my question.
And also, that's the other way. That's why it's third-party evidence. It's proof that that promoter that you hired is even doing their job. So you're able to see from somebody that doesn't have any skin in the game, oh, your song is being played here, here, and there. This is how many times and so forth, because the person that you hired actually did their job and serviced your music out properly. All right, there was another. We have time for what? Let's take
Thank you very much.
No problem. 2 more questions. Was it Mike Lee and somebody else had a question?
Okay. I think Mike Lee already asked this question. Fane asked this question. Anybody else have any questions? Real quick, last one. Anybody have a serious question before he has to go? My man gotta go.
Ask something hard.
Diamond, do you have a question? I know we were speaking earlier.
This is what I always tell people. Ask something that can't be Googled.
Diamond, do you have a question?
No, not right now.
Okay. Greg, do you have a question? Okay, Greg, do you have a question?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Greg. I'm the co-founder of GFM Media in partnership with Trill Will. We're a self-development company with media base, but I had a question about a technical question. So with DRT in its database and its platform, if you will, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but what kernel can you guys use that on? Like with Linux based, Windows, Apple, like how would you solidify that per se?
Okay. Well, make a long story short, we are our own platform. So we have our own dashboard, when you sign up for a DRT account, you'll be able to get access to that, and you'll be able to access your reports, and you'll be able to share them and download them and all those types of things all internally. So we don't operate from Apple or any other platform, because obviously if something happens to that platform, we're gone too. So that kind of gives you the quick answer.
I think you would. Oh, go ahead.
And if you're I hope I answered it, but if you were asking on the technical aspect, we don't license the pipeline. So therefore,
and I think he asking like, how do you track it from their website? Like, is there a certain process that you would need to track it to attach to their station or something?
Oh, got it. Well, that's why we tell you to register your station, and we send you all that information. It breaks it down. That's why we require you to have to be streaming your station from a major broadcasting network. That's how we track your music. So in other words, if you're with Live 365, we have a situation with Live 365 to get your data. Is that the question?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more in the dense of the backend database. So I guess I was asking if I was not trying to implement the platform and like create it own, but you said it doesn't go type that.
I think I know what you were asking. That's why I made the statement at the end. That's why we don't share the pipeline. So in other words, we don't license the data. We only do it internally. So yeah, we get calls all the time. I love that question. We get calls all the time from people that want to integrate the data within their platform, and they want to know about the compatibilities and all that kind of stuff. We don't share the data. We turn down so many people with that want to do that. We're good on our own. Yeah, we just don't license the data. We'll sell the data now, but we just don't license the data to, as a matter of fact, Sony wanted to do that with us, and we turned them down. We don't want to, because as they say, the value is in the data, right? You're tracking 40 million titles a week, 40 million. So anybody gets access to that data, then that opens up a whole nother world of stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
already on your team?
Yeah, I'm sorry, what's that?
Your own pen testers? Somebody that kind of manipulates systems, tries to bypass it and, looks into it and see.
Yeah, but trust me, we have a huge team over here. Yeah, we got a squad. I got some great guys that, I mean, I got a team of guys that some of them are professional hackers, all kinds of stuff. They test everything out. We have our own servers. They do take care of all the technical stuff. I'm not the tech guy, but we got some great people on our team that have been working with us for all 15 years, and that's why we do what we do. They make sure that we've got a bulletproof system. You can't get the data. It's not going to happen. So it's kind of like Facebook, right? Everybody's got their thing. They're going to protect their data. Everybody's going to protect their number one asset.
Gotcha.
I have a question. This is Kermit. This may not apply to 2026, but a long time ago, you told me that the stations that didn't do something, I forgot exactly what it was, but they could put something on a XLS file and send it in of songs they played if they were playing a mixtape, I think. If they were playing like a mixtape of songs or a show where they're doing like a 30-minute or an hour show, and you can't track it. The 30-minute or hour show, I think what we talked about, I'm not sure.
That's right.
That they can send in a Excel sheet of these are songs I played during that show, and that would count. Is that still accurate or true?
Yes,
what I'm saying?
yes, it is, and we don't talk about it very often. And that's great. I appreciate you bringing that up, Kermit. What that is that's called an activator station. Okay, so what happens is there's certain podcasts or there's certain specialty shows that want their data included in the database. So that's where you have to send in what Kermit's referring to. It's a special, layman's terms, a special Excel file that you send into us that we do database inclusion of that data. So we're not tracking it the traditional way, but we're including, because what we believe here is we don't want to exclude anyone. So we want to make it inclusive. So sometimes there's specialty shows or syndicated shows that may be on several stations that are not monitored, for example. So therefore, we don't want to exclude their data. They want to be included in DRT's data. So we have them send in those special files, and therefore their data then shows up. So when someone pulls up a song, they're able to see that particular syndicated show had played it and so forth, how many spins they played it throughout the network and so forth. It's a great question. All right, one more. Any other questions?
Great question. Anybody got any questions? Last chance. Thank you again, Mr. Matthews.
Yeah.
Great call. And we'll definitely have to do a follow-up in the future, but this was, I love the questions. Great questions this morning.
Mr. Matthews, this is Clinton Kelly at Kelly Franklin. I left a message. I left a message in the chat for you.
Pleasure to meet you, Kelly. I'm see you.
We'll follow up from that. I left my information there. Thank you.
Okay. Got it.
My question is not necessarily for him, but for Trill Will. This was such a good call. I would really like to see it again. If I don't know if you post these anywhere, where we could take a look at them later.
Yes, sir. Mr. Kermit takes care of that.
It will be on YouTube, and I'll send you the link. I think we have each other's number. I'll send you the link.
Yes, we do.
Mr. Kermit, also, I need to link you with Greg so he can show you how to do a collab post, so you can collab with our YouTube pages whenever you post it. Definitely need to link y'all today as well. All right. I thank you again, Mr. Mike Matthews. It's been a pleasure. I definitely wish we had more time, but unfortunately, I know you have to go. Man, I just hope you come back soon, bro, because it's a lot more. We have a lot of really engaging people and a lot of people who are really hungry, and we're building something, underground railroad, if you will, for independent artists. And so that's what we're
I love it. Oh yeah, you got a lot of great people on this call. It was a pleasure meeting you guys, and I definitely will be back again in the future. Again, Trill, you know how to contact me if you need anything, or there's some questions that didn't get answered and so forth. And Mr. Kelly, I did see your information here, and we'll reach out beyond the call. So you guys have a good day. You guys, again, I'll leave you with this. Make sure you sign up for a free account on digitalradiotracker.com. Doesn't cost you absolutely nothing to just sign up and get an account, and also to use the free searchable database to be able to see. You might already have some airplay on your song and don't even know it. So make sure you check that out. You guys have a blessed day and look forward to the next one.
Man.